Hi, all of you. Good afternoon. कैसे हैं आप लोग? How are you? All nice. Tomorrow is the geography optional paper, and all the optional paper. So, like the students, they are nervous. Even as teachers, okay, we are a bit anxious. क्या questions आएगा? What they will ask? And tomorrow 7 p.m. We will have a analysis of the paper in the evening. Live होगा YouTube में. I'll suggest all of you should join in there. ठीक है? Mithilesh, I'm good. Okay, so I will share the link. It'd be nice to know how much you can answer from the notes. Of course, many of you have not done the test series, so you'll have a channel. You'll have a challenge there. Classes of ठीक है, then you can see the recordings afterwards, Anurag, no problem. But those who are not having any other class, make sure that you are part of the discussion. We'll have a quick round summarizations of what has been asked, what type of paper. Okay, we'll have a discussion there. Yes, on the YouTube, Mahesh. Yes, we'll share the links to all of you. Happy Pongal. Yes, happy Pongal, happy Makar Sankranti, happy Lodi. So this almost signals the end of the winters. Help us discussion. Okay, ठीक है अहमद, आप आए पहले देखा जाता है. Ugadi, yes, absolutely. Ashmita, happy Ugadi, happy Makar Sankranti, yes. Harvest time. So हमारा तो अभी sowing time चल रहा है, right? We are sowing the seeds, developing the concepts. Harvesting time will be when you start giving the examination. That will be our harvesting time. Dahi chuda, happy Bihu. Chalo, good, nice. Okay, let's get started now. Others will join when they join. So the quick summarizations, the quick summary of yesterday. So what we did was we understand the chemical layering of Earth. Chemical layer क्या है? Crust है. Chemical layer is the mantle. Okay, it includes the core. And core, you understand the outer core and the inner core. Okay, and we have the mechanical differentiation. We have the mechanical differentiation, the lithosphere, the asthenosphere, the mesosphere, and the perisphere. Now, did you all understand? Lithosphere is the crust plus the upper part of upper mantle up to 100 kilometers depth. ये समझ में आ गया? Is it okay? No problem. So many of the students, when they start off preparation, they have a doubt. So tell us, lithosphere is above or below the crust? You tell us that asthenosphere is above or below the crust. So this is altogether another scheme of classification, and this is altogether another scheme of classification. It's like the same person, okay, can be a son, and the same person can also be the father. Okay, so you don't have to compare, okay, this with this and then get confused. ये अलग ही scheme है. This is a separate scheme. The lithosphere includes the crust. Yes, they are not contradicting each other. Harsh, question mark क्यों है? Kashish, do I have a cold? Well, not a cold really, but I do have a bit of a sore throat, and that could be because of maybe I took a bit too many classes, that's why. Otherwise, I'm fine. You have a doubt, Somesh? Bolo? क्या है? नहीं, I'm not the ice cream guy. No, Ashutosh, I hope not. Okay. Dynamic circulation in terms of, yes. So the mantle is having molten rocks which is circulating. Okay, it has molten rocks which is circulating. Diluted version of component organic. ये क्या बोल रहे हो? मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा गौतम. Oils and minerals are diluted version. Okay, I don't know what you mean by this. Version of component of organic influence. Minerals are not always organic. Minerals are inorganic in nature. The minerals are inorganic, the ones we talked here. Silicates, okay, the sulfates, the halides, ये सब inorganic है, not from life. The minerals we use in mining are not same as the minerals we're talking as a part of this geological discussion. They're not the same things. They're not the same things. अच्छा, ये तो ठीक है all of you, is this fine? Is this fine all of you? ठीक है, no problem. क्या हुआ? रूप को क्या हो गया? तबीयत खराब है रूप का? What happened, Roop? Are you fine? Oh, he has COVID. Oh, okay, okay. Take care, please. Take care. Okay, don't stress yourself too much. But it's not really very scary. Be careful for 1 or 2 days. It will subside. It will subside. Just make sure that you're not exposing yourself. Okay. ठीक है? Is it done? No problem. Okay, let's move on then. Then what we discussed was that the lithosphere is plates. You understand this term called plates? ये plate समझ में आता है? These are broken blocks. So this is the continent, this is the ocean, this is the thick continent. What has happened is this continent is broken. These continents, these are broken. These lithospheric plates, ये ऐसे टूट गया है. It has broken like this. It has broken like this. Okay, so this is, so if you look from top, अगर आप ऊपर से देखेंगे, so this is one block. This is another block. This is another block. It is not a continuous, a sheet or a layer. It is broken into parts. Okay, broken into segments, and those are called as plates. Okay, and this along with the lithosphere. So यहाँ तक lithosphere है. यहाँ तक, okay, this is the part of the upper mantle, lithosphere. Up till here, okay, this is the lithosphere. Up till here, okay, this is the lithosphere. Okay, so if you look at our Earth, ऐसे blocks हैं, and below this is the layer called as the asthenosphere. The asthenosphere. So anybody, what is this? This is the continental crust. And this is the part of lithosphere under the continental crust. This is what? This again continental crust. Whereas this is the oceanic crust. This is continental crust. This is the oceanic crust. Is this diagram understandable, all of you? समझ में आ रहा है? Okay. And what is this line? ये line क्या है? What is this line? What is this line? What is this line? ये क्या line है? What is this line? Okay, this is the Moho's discontinuity. Yes, this is the Moho's discontinuity. It is at a lower level under the continents. It is shallow level under the oceans. Okay, and ये जो block है, it is floating over asthenosphere. Asthenosphere, I said, is some kind of semi-molten layer. Some kind of semi-molten layer. यहाँ तक ठीक है? Is it okay? All fine? Okay, excellent. And I hope you know these terms now. What is Conrad discontinuity? What is Moho discontinuity? What is a repeti? Also, in some books, they might write as the Birch discontinuity. What is Gutenberg discontinuity? What is Lehman's discontinuity? Okay, ये समझ में आ रहा है all of you? No problem. Lehman is between outer core and inner core. Gutenberg is between inner mantle and outer core. This is between the middle mantle and the deep mantle or inner mantle. This is between the crust and the mantle. And this is inside the continents, the upper felsic and the lower relatively mafic layers. This is done at a depth of 30 kilometers. At the depth of 30 kilometers. No problem? No, Conrad is not on the oceans. Anybody, why the Conrad is not in the oceans? Why? Because oceans are very thin. There is not much of difference in this thinner layer. Continents are much thick. In this thickness, the variations of the rocks is a bit more. Okay, so इसमें कुछ होगा, we are not bothered about it. Conrad is, Conrad is inside the continent itself. वैभव, क्या बोल रहे हो यार? Conrad is not same as Moho discontinuity. Moho is between the crust and the mantle. ठीक है? So Vaibhav, you're getting the concept wrong. Okay, I think you have understood this. Then you understand the conditions of the interiors. Conditions of the interiors, no problem. What is the state? Okay, what is the temperature pattern? And I gave you a term called as convection currents. ये term बता दिया था मैंने आपको. Okay, what are convection currents? These are those conduits, say pipes where the matter is circulating. There are passages in which the molten rocks are circulating. But remember, otherwise mantle in general is solid. The mantle in general is, rocks, they have solid rocks and minerals. But inside that, there are passages in which molten magma is moving. We call that as convection currents. ठीक है? So temperature pattern बता दिया मैंने. 2 to 3 degree centigrade per 100 meters में, up to a depth of 100 kilometers. Then you know the tectonic zones have a higher temperature, and the areas of the deep mantle is hotter, and by the time you come towards the core, it can be 3,000 to 6,000, 5,000. So isme there is no definite pattern. The pattern inside the interiors, there is no definite pattern of temperature. It does vary from place to place. And importantly, the source of heat जो है, heat का source क्या है? It is partly because of radioactivity and partly because of, क्या लिखा हमने यहाँ पर? Residual gravitational heat. Residual gravitational heat. The heat which was part of the ancient nebula, it has now not entirely dissipated. वो रह गया अंदर. Slowly, gradually, over another billions of years maybe, Earth will become far more cooler. As of now, some amount of heat continues to be trapped inside the Earth's interiors. ठीक है? All fine? All fine here? So interiors of Earth is done, and I gave you some other models. Other models, this is something like icing or garnishing extra addition के लिए. Okay, so garnishing के लिए you should know what is Edward Suez saying, what is something said by Daly, what is something said by Arthur Holmes and Van der Graatz. ठीक है? So इसमें कुछ additional facts दे दिया. Okay, if you can remember, it will be nice. Okay, at least know that this man talked about Sial, Sima, and knife, and this man talks about, or this, they talk about outer silicates, intermediate silicates, and inner silicates. This man gives a bit more detailed idea. Outer silicates, he talks about areas, inner silicate, mixed silicates, and there are layer of metals also. And of the four models, this is the closest to our present model of differentiation. Okay? I'm revising Varsha. The first 10-15 minutes, हम थोड़ा revise करते हैं quickly. Yes, Ashar Sultan, the temperature pattern does not have a definite pattern. We know some facts, but exactly perfect pattern नहीं है. Okay, just write that much, that's all. Okay, now we'll move on towards evidences of Earth's interiors. So what we said here is that Earth is having a radius of approximately 6400 kilometers, and for that kind of thickness of Earth, it's not possible to go physically and check the temperatures. So we have got different methods. Different methods may, okay, the more important methods are which are based on a seismic study, methods based on earthquake waves study. Okay, यही हम discuss कर रहे थे. And in the earthquake wave studies, I said जो earthquakes हैं, earthquakes are the reasons, or earthquakes are the consequence of some kind of energy release. And this energy release can be of two types. We can have electromagnetic radiations, and we have mechanical waves. ये समझ में आ रहा है? Electromagnetic radiations like gamma rays, okay, X-rays, ultraviolet rays, the visible spectrum, okay, the infrared, the microwaves. ठीक है? So उल्टा कर दिया मैंने. We have the microwaves and we have the no. ठीक तो था, sorry. Visible spectrum, infrared, microwaves and radio waves. So this is the set of electromagnetic radiations: gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet rays, visible spectrum, infrared, microwaves and radio waves. Yes, Gaksu Vimar, Asutosh, correct. Yes, correct. So these are not important. These are not important for studying the interiors of Earth. Anybody why? Why are these not important for studying the interiors of Earth? Kyun? Because these do not require medium. Okay, these energy radiations, they can pass through. These can pass through vacuum. They can pass through vacuum. They don't need a medium, and therefore they do not tell us about the layers through which they pass. Okay, I think this is understood, all of you. This is understood. Okay, so these do not require medium. They do not tell us about the layers through which they pass. Okay, ठीक है, आपको जैसे याद रहता है रहने दो. So this is emotionless. You cannot associate this type of radiation energy with the medium. Whereas ये जो waves हैं, the mechanical waves, these are okay, their properties are dependent on the medium, through which they pass. Okay, therefore, if their behavior is recorded, we can infer the nature and the composition of the layer through which they are passing. Through which they pass. Can you all write down this? This is the important wisdom on which the study of the seismic waves is based. that the properties of these waves, the property of these waves are dependent on the medium through which they pass. So when I say properties, what am I inferring? Properties are the velocity of the waves. The property are the path of the waves, whether they are refracting or whether they are reflecting. Okay? The property of the waves depends on the medium. And the medium kya hai? The density of the medium, the rigidity of the medium, yes, the wavelength, the frequency, and so on. So this is the important point, that if their behavior, if their means ka matlab kya hai? Whose behavior? When I say their behavior, whose behavior am I referring to? Whose behavior am I referring to? The waves, yes. So if the behavior of the waves is recorded, then we can infer, we can know about the composition of the layer through which they pass. Yes. So Ahmad Raza is the wave here. ठीक है, आप एक लहर हो. ठीक है, so the way you behave will tell us the medium through which you have been influenced. If you know how you are behaving, we know who you have seen or who you have interacted with. ठीक है? Okay. So is this done, all of you? All done? नहीं 4-5 लोग थे यार, सोनल ही क्यों? Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, now quickly, the types of earthquake, the type of seismic waves and their nature. Okay, take up a fresh page, please. The type of seismic waves and their nature. ठीक है, अब शुरू करते हैं. Okay, ठीक है. The type of seismic waves. So there are two type of seismic waves. We can have body waves, and we can have the surface waves. ये body waves क्या होते हैं? They pass through the body of the earth. They pass through the body of earth. And surface waves, as the name suggests, they propagate along the surface. So if this is earth, तो यहाँ पर earthquake है. So there is some wave that passes like this. There is some wave that passes like this. And there are some waves that pass along the surface. There are some waves that pass along the surface. Okay? So there are body waves and there are surface waves. They pass through the body of the earth, and these pass through the surface of the earth. Okay? And ये जो body waves हैं, the body waves, okay, these are more important. These are more important to understand the layering of Earth's interiors. Are you all writing as I speak? Are you all writing? आप पेस रख पा रहे हो? The body waves are more important. Why? The body waves, these are more important to understanding the layering of the Earth's interiors. ठीक है? Understandable, no? अगर मुझे Earth का interior जानना है, then I would study the waves that pass through the interiors. Okay? Anyways, so in the body waves हैं, these are of two types. We have got P waves, and we have the S waves. The P waves, these are also called primary waves, and these are longitudinal. These are longitudinal waves. Now see, some of this is physics, so we'll not end up getting too confused by this. आप बस इसको याद रखो. Those who know physics, good enough. Otherwise, you have to remember a couple of facts. They're called as P waves or primary waves, and these are longitudinal waves, whereas S waves, also called as secondary waves, and these are transverse waves. Okay, these are like the sound waves, and these are like the plucked strings of guitar. Okay, so ये जो आपका है कैसे, if you plug the guitar, there is a sine wave types, there's the up and down motions, the waves on the surface of the earth, वैसे up and down. So these are called as transverse waves. They are like the plucked strings of a guitar. Yes, like ripples on the surface, correct. ठीक है, so इसमें ना ज़्यादा don't end up spending too much time. Okay, just know that longitudinal waves are like sound waves, transverse waves are this, and come to the surface waves. ये surface waves जो हैं, these are also two types. Okay, they are Rayleigh waves, Raleigh, Rayleigh waves. They're also called as R waves, and these are rotary waves. These are rotary waves. ये जो waves है ना, these kind of, the particles kind of rotate. They kind of rotate. They are like rotatory motions. Rotatory motions of particles. And we have another one called as L waves, named after a man who had a very romantic name, love waves. And love waves are also, they're also one type of transverse waves. And both these waves are very destructive. They can cause collapse of buildings and structures. They are dangerous, yes. So you just know this. Surface waves are Rayleigh R waves and L waves. L waves, the person's name is love. Okay? Yeah, and understandable why they are so dangerous. Okay, they are dangerous because the kind of name that they have, and they are one type of transverse waves. Transverse waves कैसे होते हैं? The particles vibrate perpendicular to the direction of the energy transmission. Okay, these particles, they vibrate, they will start vibrating perpendicular to the direction of the energy transmission. Okay, Mithilesh, maybe your experience is different. Okay, बाकी लोगों का difference होगा experience. So I'll wait for somebody else to discover F waves. अभी आप L waves को ही लेके चलो as dangerous waves. ठीक है मिथिलेश? Okay, so for now I will not invent another one. ठीक है, अब आपको क्या पता okay, क्या क्या होता है? Okay, so your experience is a bit different one. Good, nice. Okay, but others will have, okay, ask Ahmed Raza. He will tell you which is more dangerous. Okay, so L waves, I said L waves are transverse waves. L waves are transverse waves. In this what happens? The particles vibrate perpendicular to the direction of energy transmission. The particles vibrate perpendicular to the direction of energy transmission. ठीक है? Can I move on now? Can I move on? All good? बस इसमें ज़्यादा R&D नहीं करना है. Remember always. Okay, there's a reason why we will not go beyond a point. Okay, we will not go beyond a point because we are not going to become scholars. We want to clear the examination. ठीक है? So there's the reason why I say only this much. इसके आगे नहीं जाना है. ठीक है? Yes. So P waves and S waves. Now the focus is here. So this is part of maybe a bit of a sense of completion, कि body waves, surface waves, but our discussion is somewhere here. So talking about the body waves, I said we have the P waves. P waves are longitudinal, and we have S waves. S waves are transverse. Now, आपको दो चीज याद रखना है, two things. Okay, or I'll say three things here. ठीक है? Okay, two things. In both the cases, the velocity of the waves increases with density, all other factors remaining constant. इसमें भी the velocity of the wave increases with density. The velocity of the waves increases with rigidity. Okay, the velocity of the waves increases with rigidity. Okay, is this okay, all of you? ये प्रॉपर्टी आपको याद रखना है, प्रॉपर्टी. अरे गार्गी पहले पढ़ तो लो यार, पहले रीड, we'll see what type of questions afterwards. Okay, पहले पढ़ लो, write down the notes. Okay, so what are P waves, what are S waves? P waves are longitudinal waves. So if you want to know a bit more, इसमें क्या होता है? The particles, they vibrate along the axis of energy propagation. Okay, they are longitudinal waves. So the energy is going like this. The energy goes like this. The particles are vibrating along the axis. The energy goes like this straight. The particles are vibrating along the axis. In the transverse waves, the energy goes like this. The particles are vibrating up and down like this. Or the particles are vibrating, okay, perpendicular along this axis. ठीक है? So इसको मैं इतना ही कर सकता हूँ. I can only drama and dance with my hands. Diagram आप अपने आप बना लेना. Amandeep, make a diagram and share with me. ठीक है? So in this case, the vibration is along the axis. यार कुछ चलो ठीक है. आपने तो पैसे उठाना है. Okay? If this is the direction of the energy transfer, the particles are vibrating along the axis. Okay, in this case, if this is the plane, the energy is passing like this. इसमें क्या है? The particles are vibrating up and down, perpendicular to the direction of the energy propagation. इससे ज्यादा सिंपल डायग्राम हम नहीं बना सकते. ठीक है? This is along the axis of propagation. This is perpendicular to the axis of propagation. अब ठीक है? Okay, fine. We don't need this. आप पूछ रहे हो, सब बता रहे हैं. So some of you are curious here. We don't need this. Okay, so velocity of the wave increases with density. More dense, more speed of waves. More dense, more speed of waves. And I'm saying the velocity of waves increases with the rigidity. Difference क्या है बताओ? Difference क्या है? Density और rigidity में difference क्या है? Anybody knows? Density is the amount of matter. Okay, and rigidity is the hardness. The rigidity is the hardness, yes. Okay, and a third important point is, जो P waves हैं, P waves, they cannot travel through fluids. They can't travel through gases. They can't travel through liquids. Yes. No. Oh, sorry. You guys are making me nervous. That's the problem. This is here. Okay, it is the S waves that can't travel through fluids. They can't travel through gases and liquids. You guys make me nervous, no? Okay, love की बात कर दे रहे हो, friendship की बात कर दे रहे हो, सोनल का नाम बीच बीच में ले रहे हो, ठीक है? So I'm getting very emotional here, ठीक है? So don't do that, please. Okay, and in this case, what happens is the P waves can travel. They can travel through liquids and gases, but they slow down. But they slow down. ठीक है? Like, how do you know, Isha, old days हैं कि present days हैं? How do you know this? Okay, so why are you चलो ठीक है, okay, okay. So I ज़्यादा difference थोड़ी है. I may be hardly maybe 1 or 2 years younger to you guys. Okay, so not much of age difference between you and me. I just had to put on a cap. Okay, I can maybe put a ear pin here and here. I can put on 5, 6 rings, and I can do this types, and I'm cool dudes type. So who says that Yes, you are almost my age. I agree. इधर आओ. Come here. लिखा आपने? So P waves can travel through liquids and gases, but they slow down, whereas S waves cannot travel through fluids. This is an important property. This is an important, yes, absolutely, buddy. मैंने अटेम्प्ट थोड़ी देना है अनिकेत. ओके, मैंने अटेम्प्ट नहीं देना, अटेम्प्ट आप लोग दो, ठीक है? Is it okay? All done? All done here? All done here? अच्छा, now one thing remember, जो velocity है, it is a function of both density and rigidity. This is the symbol of density, and this is the symbol of rigidity. इसमें equation में दोनों आता है. Velocity is a function of, please concentrate. Velocity is a function of density and rigidity. And okay, you cannot be sure about which one will be more important. It is for the scientist to tell us. Okay, so think of an example where density has reduced and rigidity has increased. अब बताओ velocity क्या होगा? What will happen? Think of a case where the density has reduced but rigidity has increased. Mohit, exactly. No, scientists can determine, not you and I. हमें बस accept करना है that maybe in one case this increases. Why? Because maybe this is more important than this. Okay, so for example, I have the emotions here. Okay, is a function of this and say sonal. ठीक है? So remember when Ahmed Raza sees Asha, क्या होता था? He would become anxious. And if he saw Sonal, what happens? Okay, so if he sees both, इनका क्या होगा? You can't guess. But there are people who can find out what happens. Maybe Sonal थोड़ा ज़्यादा पास है. So this guy is at different plane. Maybe Asha is a bit more closer. She's on the phone. Okay, then this guy will start getting more and more anxious. Okay? So it is not for you to guess. The scientists have told us what will happen when. Is it okay? He might go into coma. possible. Okay, possible. ठीक है? So Ahmed Raza now becomes history. अगर ऐसा situation होगा, okay, he can become history, no problem. शुभम आपकी भी बारी आएगी, ठीक है? आपकी भी बारी आएगी. Is this point understood? आपको ये वाला पॉइंट समझ में आ रहा है? That you and I can't guess, but scientists using equations can find out which if the factor is more dominant. They can find out which factor is going to be more influential. अब ठीक है? Is it okay now? Is it okay? Okay. So what you guys must do? So आपका क्या approach होगा? You will not think too much. You will simply remember. Is it okay? You will simply remember. Of course, with some logic. So here we are. So seismic waves, behavior of the seismic waves and the associated inference. Okay, the associated inference. So in your notebook, you write this down. Okay, so a seismic wave and what is the inference and the reason. Inference of and the reason. So number one, okay, of course remember that we are assuming, okay, we are assuming an earthquake focus at very near to the Earth's surface, and we study the body waves as they pass. Okay? We are assuming an earthquake focus at very near to the Earth's surface, and we are studying the body waves as they pass through the interiors. Heading ये है, the behavior of seismic waves, and the associated inference. Behavior of seismic waves and the associated inference. Because I have talked about the work of art already. Okay? Don't challenge me, because my art can suddenly become a next level art again. Okay? So ekdam dhyan se suno. See, one thing about notes making is, when you are writing the notes, don't look at the board. You listen to what I am saying. सुनो और लिखो, देख कर मत लिखो. Okay? अगर देख के लिखोगे तो फंसोगे. ठीक है? So listen and write down. Yes. So behavior of seismic waves and associated inference. So I'll give you in a tabular form what are the observations and what is the inference and the reason. और यहां क्या लिखा? We are assuming an earthquake focus at very near Earth's surface. We are assuming earthquake focus at very near Earth's surface, and we are studying the body waves as they pass through the interiors. Okay, so this is the Earth, somewhere very near the surface. Say यहाँ पर earthquake हो गया, and then the body waves are passing. We are studying those. We are assuming the earthquake focus to be very near to Earth's surface, and we are studying the body waves as they pass through the interiors. All good? Can I move on? Epicenter is the point right above the focus on the surface. So अगर ये Earth है, say earthquake happens here, perpendicular above the earthquake focus on the surface, this is called as epicenter. Okay, चोट दिल के अंदर हुई, but the whatever bruise I have on the skin, that is the epicenter. ठीक है? Right? Okay, झटका stroke brain के अंदर हुआ, but maybe there is some swelling on the surface. That's the epicenter. एकदम deep examples. हम कोई हल्का काम करते ही नहीं है. All our examples are very deep, very philosophical. Okay, it should touch the heart of whoever we are discussing with. ठीक है? आगे बढ़े. Vibration, waves है, vibration, energy passing through your body. इसको ऐसे ही कैसे पढ़ाई कर दें यार? ठीक है? So this is about the waves and what they have done to the body of the earth. ठीक है? So right now I'm assuming the focus and the epicenter are same. ठीक है? Okay. The first point here is initially the P and the S waves in a shallow depth are very slow. Initially, the P and the S waves in the shallow depths are very slow. The P wave velocity is approximately around 4 to 5 kilometer per second. Some books might write 4.5, some books might write 5.3, some books might write 4.2. Doesn't matter. I'm taking a range. All of you, are you all listening here? Now you have to keep writing as I speak. Initially, the P and the S waves in the shallow depths are very slow. Very slow. Now, your books mainly mention the velocity of the P waves. So, you just mention the P wave velocity. S waves ka value not required. Although Savindra Singh does mention that S wave has a speed of approximately 3 kilometers per second. Ignore it. आप P ही याद रखो. लिखा आपने? Okay. So, this corresponds to the upper granitic layer that has a very low density. Okay, the P and the S waves are therefore called PG and SG waves. No, not comparable. P का अलग होता है, S के अलग होता है, but हम सिर्फ P की बात करेंगे. रोहित सिंह, is it okay? Okay, P का अलग होता है, S के अलग होता है, but in the books they mostly mention P waves. You also remember P waves. All done. Initially, the P and the S waves in the shallow depth are very slow. Okay, where P waves velocity is approximately about 4 to 6 kilometers per second. And this corresponds to the upper granitic layer that has very low density. Okay, so these P and S waves are therefore called as PG and SG. PG as in P granite and S granite. लिख लिया? All done? This is done. Can I move on? Number two. Okay, beyond 30 kilometers depth, P and S waves become faster. They become faster. Okay, these P wave ka approximate speed now becomes about 6 to 6.5 kilometers per second. It becomes 6 to 6.5 kilometers per second. Anybody remembers what is this? Okay, this corresponds to the Conrad layer, the Conrad discontinuity, beyond which the continental crust becomes more dense. याद आ रहा है आपको 30 किलोमीटर्स में क्या होता है? We have the Conrad layer. The Conrad layer, the crust becomes more dense. It becomes relatively mafic. Okay, the P and S waves, the P and S waves are called intermediate. They're called intermediate PS waves. They're called as intermediate P and S waves. ये क्या है? This is called as PGSG waves. These are called as intermediate P and S waves. All keeping pace? All keeping pace? Okay. The third one. लिख लो पहले, फिर हम समझा देंगे. Okay? Shouldn't be a problem. The third point here is beyond the moho discontinuity, P and S waves suddenly become faster. They suddenly becomes faster. Okay, they increase to about P velocity of 7.8 kilometers per second. They become fast. Okay, beyond the Moho discontinuity. Okay, P and S waves suddenly become fast. They increase to about P velocity of 7.8 kilometers per second. लिखा आपने? Yes. Okay. So what happens here? So why are they increasing? What happens here? What happens here is beyond the Moho discontinuity is a denser mantle, and therefore P and S become faster. Beyond the Moho discontinuity, okay, the mantle is denser. The P and S becomes faster. P and S waves are called P star and S star waves. They're called P star and S star waves. So PG, SG waves, intermediate PS waves, and P star and S star waves. All go till here? All go till here? Okay, fine. Let's move on. The fourth one now. After 100 kilometers depth, P and S waves suddenly slow down to about 7.2 kilometers per second. यहां पर क्या हो गया? Okay, after 100 kilometers, the P and the S waves suddenly slow down. What happens here? So what happens here is beyond 100 kilometers, okay, the lithosphere ends and the asthenosphere starts, which is semi-molten. Okay, therefore less rigidity, and therefore velocity falls. Beyond 100 kilometers, don't say liquid, say semi-molten. The asthenosphere is semi-molten. Beyond 100 kilometers, the lithosphere ends and the asthenosphere starts. Okay, and what happens here? That it is semi-molten, which is a semi-molten, therefore less rigidity and velocity falls. Soumya, ab samajh mein aaya? The example of Asha and Sonal, which one will decide? Okay, you can't guess. Scientists will know this. They have a way of recording this. Soumya, ab pakad mein aaya? Yes, you got it. All the others. Did you understand what Soumya is asking me? Soumya is asking, but sir, asthenosphere में तो density ज़्यादा है, correct? Okay, but rigidity has fallen. Which one decides when? You can't decide that. इसको आपको याद रखना पड़ेगा because scientists have mapped it. Okay? Good you asked, and good that I pointed that out earlier. Yes. ठीक है? Okay? अब मेरे हाथ में नया फोन भी है. Okay? और 2 सेकंड पहले मम्मी का जबरदस्त थप्पड़ पड़ा था. मम्मी इज a more acceptable example, but किसी का बहुत गंदा थप्पड़ पड़ा था. So what will I be? Will I be happy or will I be sad? It depends on who am I and which is more important. For some of us, okay, थप्पड़ पड़ा तो पड़ा यार, मोबाइल फोन तो नया है. Okay, for some of us, यार मोबाइल फोन किस काम का, अगर okay, दिल पे थप्पड़ पड़ गया, सबके सामने पड़ गया. ठीक है? So what will happen depends on, okay, ask Ahmed Raza. ठीक है? Yes. So that was the intention of why I talked about this concept. The velocity depends on both density and rigidity, but which will play a role where? You can't use your logic. ठीक है? So let's move on. Excellent. अच्छा, asthenosphere is therefore called low velocity zone. Is therefore called low velocity zone. नहीं, इसका कोई अलग नाम नहीं है. Okay, ये थप्पड़ का कोई और नाम नहीं. इसको बस याद रखो. P and S waves become slow. We don't have a name for it, Sanjay. Just remember, asthenosphere is called as the low velocity zone. आगे बढ़े? Shall I move on? Okay. So now come to point number 5. Point number 5. Beyond 350, 400 kilometers. Okay. P and S waves again pick up speed. Pick up a speed and can reach P velocity of 9 kilometers per second in the deep mantle. Okay, beyond 350, 4 kilometers, the P and the S waves again pick up speed and can reach kitna P velocity of 9 kilometers per second in the deep mantle. In the deep mantle, the speeds are very, very high. So why is this? Because beyond asthenosphere is the denser mantle, okay, where P and S, okay, now are very fast. They're now very fast. So deep mantle is also called high velocity zone. Is also called as high velocity zone. Likha? Tell me guys, does this look difficult? Okay, you know the layers of the earth. You know कौन सा dense है, कौन सा semi-molten है. You just mapping it with some inferences, that's all. And this is where, okay, Gargi, questions यहाँ पूछता है. Okay, what are the evidences? What are the seismic evidences of the Earth's interiors? That's all. यही table को बना के लिखना है. Gargi, are you there? Yeah, you have left. Okay, because I said कि बाद में पूछना. It was Gargi, no? Yes. संन्यास पे चली गई. ठीक है, ऑल गुड हियर. ये लिखा आपने. Okay, beyond 350 foreign kilometers, the PS waves again pick up speed. Yes, correct, Dheeraj, correct. In the astronosphere, it is not fluid, Ranjan. हद तेरी के, इतना पढ़ाने के बाद में fluid कर रंजन. I'm saying semi-molten. It's like jelly. You have seen jelly, jello. वो ना ही solid है, ना ही liquid है. Okay, it is not fluid. It is not liquid. It is not liquid. ठीक है? It is neither solid. It is nor liquid. It is semi-molten. It is like jello. Yes, like jelly. Correct. नहीं, plastic word use मत करो. Okay. No, don't use any other word, please. Okay. No creativity here. Use the words that scientists are using. Please, अपना terms मत use करो. ग्लिसरीन कोई बोल रहा है, कोई छाछ बोल रहा है, कोई बोल रहा है सोडा की तरह लगता है. Okay. Like sanitizer. Please don't. Use the word semi-molten, something like jelly. That's all. Jelly term has been used. Okay, so beyond astronosphere, the mantle is denser. It is denser mantle. The P and the S waves, they become more fast. They move very fast. Okay, deep mantle is therefore also called as the high velocity zone. It's also called as the high velocity zone. Fourth point. Okay, fourth point क्या था? Fourth point क्या था? Fourth point क्या था? ये वाला था. After 100 kilometers depth, the P and the S waves are suddenly slow. They suddenly slow down. Okay, to about 7.2 kilometers. Okay, it was how much? It was about 7.8 kilometers per second, and they slow down to 7.2 kilometers per second. Okay, why? Because astronosphere is semi-molten. Point number two. Beyond 30 kilometers depth, the P and the S waves become faster. The P velocities, they are approximately 6 to 6.5 kilometers per second. And that corresponds to the Conrad Discontinuity. तुम लोग ना बड़े वो हो. Okay. अलग अलग लोग अलग अलग पॉइंट पूछ दिया. पहले 1 पूछा, किसी ने 5 पूछा, किसी ने 3 पूछा. Okay. तुम लोग बड़े वो हो. ठीक. ठीक है. मुझे सब गेम समझ में आता है. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. पैसे दिए हैं, तो पैसा वसूल कराओ. ओके. नो, वेव्स का कोई यहां पर नाम, यहां के आने के बाद द वेव्स हैव नो नेम. सो अप टू यू व्हाट नेम यू वांट टू कॉल देम. ये मिडिल क्लास लोग, इसको आप फेकू बोलो, पप्पू बोलो. ओके, आपको जो नाम देना है दो. योर चॉइस, वॉट एवर. ओके, प्यार से कुछ भी बुला लो, सब चलेगा. जो नाम देना है दोनों. सोनू मोनू वेव्स. कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है. पूजा मिश्रा. तो पूजा मिश्रा वाली कंडीशन किसकी है? Okay. Are you talking to Ahmed Raza, Pooja Mishra? That could be one reason. ठीक है. पूजा मिश्रा आप लिख लो, आपको समझ में आ जाएगा धीरे धीरे. हिंदी प्रॉब्लम है, but I am not, the teaching is not in Hindi at all. The teaching is not in Hindi. So it's like this. This is the continent. Okay. This is the interiors of the earth. This is the margin of lithosphere. Okay. This is the asthenosphere. This is the deeper mantle, middle and deep mantle. Okay. This is the Conrad discontinuity. When the waves are passing here, they are slow. When the waves are passing here, they become a bit fast. When the waves are passing here, they are very fast. When the waves are passing here, they become a sudden slow. And then they become, okay, more and more fast. Okay, so when they're here, they are slow. They are slow because this is granite layer. It is PGSG waves. When the waves are here, they are faster because now relatively more dense continental crust. तो इसको बोलते हैं P&S intermediate. When they come here, the P and S are very fast. They are very fast. We call these as P star and S star waves. When we come here, the P and S again slow down, okay, because of asthenosphere. This is called as the low velocity zone. And then here again, P and S become faster and faster. So the deep mantle is called as the high velocity zone. बेटा इतना पैसा उठाओगे तो आगे का कोर्स खत्म नहीं होगा. This is the summary of whatever I have told till now. अरे पूजा मिश्रा जी हैं. ओके, मिश्रा जी को तो हिंदी पता ही होगा. मिश्रा जी, शुक्ला जी, ओके, हिंदी तो 100% है. ठीक है, मेरी जान इतना हो गया, कोर का देखा जाएगा. Is this done? Is this done? You do write it. This is an example of a summary. Whatever I taught in 3 pages, I put in a diagram. Okay, the first type of PS, the second type of PS, the third type of PS, the fourth type of PS, the fifth type of PS. भाई 5 पॉइंट लिखा है मैंने, 5 पॉइंट मैंने समराइज कर दिया. समराइज इन 5. अभी आगे बताए नहीं है. ओके, पूजा ने लंगड़ी मार दी, सो आई एम बैक हियर. ओके, अभी आगे का मैंने, अभी कहानी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त. अभी कहानी कहां खत्म हुआ है, अभी तो बहुत ही बाकी है. ठीक है, okay, let's move on. Now the 6th point is, okay, यहां तक the story of the crust and the mantle is over. And the story of the crust mantle over. Now we come to beyond, okay, beyond beyond 2900 kilometers, the S waves suddenly disappear while P waves continue. The V waves continue, but at a slower speed. ठीक है, beyond 2900 kilometers, the S waves suddenly disappear. Oh yes. Okay, I'm only testing your alertness. Yeah, I am happy to see your alert. बस टेस्टिंग कर रहे थे, कोई बात नहीं. So beyond 2900 kilometers, the S waves suddenly disappear. While P waves continue but at a slower speed. Anybody can tell me why does the S wave disappear? ये क्यों होता है? Okay, why does the S wave disappear? Why? Okay, because okay, S waves are transverse waves. They cannot move through fluids, and the outer core is fluid. Yes, it is liquid. It's moving. It is liquid. Now we have a diagram for this. Did you all write down this much? Beyond 2900 kilometers, S waves disappear while P waves continue at slower pace. S waves are transverse waves. Say बताओ मेरी जान, okay, how many teachers teach like this writing on the board? Okay, how many of them? Okay, you know, while you are writing, I am writing, और मेरा finger देख रहे हो? My finger is now bent, ऐसे टेढ़ा हो गया. Okay, यहाँ पर इतनी बड़ी गिट्टी भी बैठ गई. And you make me write again and again. मतलब मैं ही एग्जाम दे देता हूँ यार तुम्हारे लिए. Okay. So go, Ashish, go and tell everybody, go and join Edukemy for the classes. Okay, go अभी जाके बोलो सबको कि कोई कहीं नहीं पढ़ाई करो, सब Edukemy में जाओ, वहां पर पढ़ाई का तरीका अलग होता है. Okay, क्लास में भी नहीं लिखते यार, कम ऑन, क्लास में भी डिक्टेट करते हैं खड़े होके. जैसे बच्चे हो लिखो, नर्तकी नाचो टाइप्स. यहां पर तुम लोग मुझे नचा रहे हो. चलो कोई बात नहीं, लव यू गाइस, सो विल डू एनीथिंग फॉर यू. इधर आओ, कम हियर. ठीक है, एस वेव्स आर, यू गाइस कमेंट ऑन माय हैंडराइटिंग. ओके, यू कुछ भी बोल देते हैं हैंडराइटिंग पे यार, दिल पे लगती है. कम ऑन, इट हर्ट्स समटाइम्स. Okay. So S waves are transverse waves. S waves are transverse waves. Transverse waves, they cannot move through fluids, and outer core is fluid. ठीक है, all done. I know, Sukhmani, people unnecessarily end up making us issue out of it. I know. Okay, then I'm the best in the handwriting. I know this. But you guys कुछ भी बोल देते हो. Done. Can I move on? Yes. So now there's a diagram for this. Diagram कैसा है? Okay, so this is the core. Okay, we have the focus or epicenter here. The P and the S waves. Okay, abhi chupchap likho. Don't ask me. They keep on moving like this. The P and the S waves, they keep on moving like this. Okay, then what happens is, say this is the S wave diagram. ये S wave है, ये S wave है, S wave है, S wave है, S wave, S waves, S waves, S waves, S waves. The moment it comes here, then there is no S waves. The moment it comes here, there is no S waves. Because the S waves can't pass through fluids. The S waves, this diagram में क्या है? The S waves, this is the S waves diagram. S waves, okay, diagram है ये वाला. In this what happens is, the S waves cannot pass through the fluid outer core. So in this zone, in this zone, there are no S waves. In this zone, there are no S waves. Okay, this is called as the S shadow zone. This is called as the S shadow zone. If this is the focus, S waves cannot pass through the fluid outer core. This is the S shadow zone. And just know this. This corresponds to an angle of 105, 103 degrees. This corresponds to 105, 103 degrees. I'll tell you how. बना लिया आपने? Have you made this diagram? Just below this, draw this. We have the S waves diagram. The S waves cannot pass through the fluid outer core. यहाँ से cross ही नहीं कर पाएंगे. And the S waves, they come out at an angle of 105, 103 degrees. What does this angle mean? ये angle का मतलब क्या है? You need not write this, just know this. If this is the earth here, okay, this is the center here, okay, so I'm saying it comes out somewhere here, okay, so if I join this and I measure this angle, this is 105, 103 degrees. That's why यहाँ पर लिखते हैं that the angle at which the S waves comes here, this is called as 105 or 103 degrees. Okay, you don't need to know all of this, you just remember this much. Yes, the S shadow is the other side. Yes, because S waves can't pass here. That's why S shadow means there's no presence of the S waves here. आप समझ में आ गया all of you? All done with this? All done with this? All good? Okay. Now a very important inference. Now listen here. This is point number 6. Okay. Now a very important inference. I should have told that to you earlier. Okay. Very important inference. Number 7 लिख लो आप. Okay. Both P and S waves, as they pass through the mantle, they bend outwards. ये diagram बनाया है ना? Okay, that the P and the S waves are bending outwards. They are bending outwards. The S waves are bending outwards. They're not going inside. Okay, yes, refraction. So what does this bending outward mean? Okay, this basically means, write down this point. It basically means that the density of the earth progressively increases with depth. Okay, this is something like a refraction. This is a refraction principle. This is a refraction principle. Density of the earth progressively increases with depth. Okay, this means density of the earth increases with depth. Why bend? Because density is changing, that is why. So ये आप, oh yes, sorry, I should have written down the inference. Correct. तो इसको आप एक काम करो, इसको आप डाल देना. Okay, you can put this in the inference. Correct. You can put it in the inference here. Inference number 6 or 7, whatever. Because of change of the density of the medium. Prince Yadav, I will explain it afterwards. Abhi aap likh lo, please. Point number 7, correct. This is point number 7? Yes, point number 7. This is an important point. Okay. The next one is number 8. Can I continue? Can I continue? Yes. So point number 8 ये है, the P waves continue to pass through the core, but okay, they bend and refract and re-emerge at one. Now iska values again, in some books they write 147 degrees, 143 degrees. I've also seen 152 degrees, doesn't matter. They bend through the core, they refract and re-emerge at 147, 143. Some books write 140, 152, 45. इसी रेंज में है. Okay, they re-emerge. So इसमें क्या है? Okay, this basically means the inference is the P waves can pass through the inner core and outer core, but bend. They can pass through the inner core and outer core, but bend differently with varying density and emerge out. They emerge out. The P waves, लिखो please, the P waves can pass through the inner core and outer core, but they bend differently. इसमें बहुत variations हैं. They bend differently with varying densities and they emerge out. Okay? But they bend and refract, okay, and re-emerge at this much. They re-emerge at this much. ये 999 क्या है, पूजा? Is a phone number you're trying to connect with? P waves में difference क्या है? P wave में एक अलग जान है. Okay, 9 number. That I understand, but what did that mean? ठीक है, all fine. Yes, सारे P wave ऐसे ही बेंड करेंगे. ठीक है. So the P wave diagram जो है वो कुछ ऐसे दिखता है. The P wave diagram. So initially they are looking like S waves. They are moving faster, but like S waves. यहां तक it is 103, 105 degrees. Till here they are 103, 105 degrees. उसके बाद क्या होगा? Okay, here things will change. Okay, they will first bend inwards, then outwards, then again they'll come like this, then they'll come out like this. They'll come here inwards, then like this, then like this, then like this. There's a lot of variations here. You need not bother about it. Okay, तो यहाँ पर they'll come out here, यहाँ पर they'll come out here, they'll come out here, come out here. So ये जो value है, this is that 143, 142, 152 जो भी value है, 147, whatever. Okay, and in this what happens is from here to here there is no P waves. This is the P shadow. Okay, and यहाँ पर ये वाला part, this is the P shadow. Can you all draw this, please? Can you all draw this? Yes, they will bend inward because यहाँ पर they become slow. They again become fast. They again become slow. They again reverse in their speed. It's a lot of variations here. You need not know all the variations, please. It's impossible to know all of that. We just want one sentence in terms of conclusion. जियोलॉजी नहीं पढ़ना है, करेक्ट ऋषभ. इसीलिए मैंने कह दिया The P waves, they pass through inner and outer core, but they bend differently with varying densities and rigidity. Can add here and rigidity, and they emerge out. They continue, but they're refracted. They re-emerge at these angles. All good till here? Did you all write down this much? All done? अरे वो रेंज है श्रवण 142, 147, 150. आपको जो व्हाट इज योर लकी नंबर लिख लो. Okay, it varies. Different books will give different values. Doesn't matter. तो P waves and S waves का पैटर्न ये है. So the question is, how do the S waves and the P waves velocity tell us about the interiors of the earth? Sureka, if you are in the class right now, please share the diagrams of the NCRTs with the students on the Telegram channel. Right, Sureka? If you are in the class, then make sure that you share that diagram of the NCRT with the class, because it's not there in the Savindra Singh textbook. Okay, I'll let you let her do that. Okay, are we done with this? Are we done with this? Ho gaya? S wave can travel, yes, because the asthenosphere, Asutosh, is not liquid. They are not. I'm sure they're intersecting. Okay, but utna detail mein nahi ghusna hai na. We have a broad idea. Okay, broad idea itna kafi hai. That's all. We do not need more than this. Itna likha, you'll get full marks. You have the handy? Yes, Gautam, please. Acha, aap batao, Utkarsh, why do we have, you tell me, why do we have the S shadow? What's the reason for the S shadow? आप बताओ. S shadow का reason क्या है? Because of what? Why do we have S shadow? Why do we have S shadow? Because S waves can't pass through the core. ठीक है? All fine? They can't pass through the core. Okay. Now tell me, why do we have P shadow? Why do we have P shadow? Can P not pass through the core? Yes, because P has refracted. Yes, because P has refracted. ठीक है, they slow down. Yes. Okay, all done till here? All done till here? Now, not to be written, but please know this. Okay. Why refraction? Why refraction or why bending? The reason is, as a density changes, the speed changes, and the waves must bend. Okay, so what happens in case of light? अगर ये light है, this is say air, this is water. Okay, what happens in case of light? In light, what happens is, in denser medium, what happens for light? For light, what happens is, in the denser medium, it becomes slow. In light, what happens is, in denser media, it becomes slow. Because it becomes slow, it will not go straight, it will take a shorter path. That's why it bends inwards, because in denser medium, light becomes slow. Remember this. Whereas for mechanical waves like P and S waves, their speed increases in denser medium. ठीक उल्टा है. In the light, what happens? It becomes slow, it bends inwards. But in case of P and S waves, the speed increases in denser medium. यहां पर उल्टा होगा. यहां पर क्या होगा? Okay, the wave is coming, rather than going straight, it will bend outward. It bends outward. अब ठीक है? In the light, the bending is towards normal. In the P and S waves, the bending is away from normal. So, friends, see, there are physics to everything, but you can't know everything. Okay? You'll have to accept some and move on. Okay, that's why in case of Earth में क्या हो रहा है? Earth में, as you are going down, it becomes in general more and more dense. So, passing near, it bends out, it bends out, it bends out, it bends out. It bends out, it bends out, it bends out. S waves, it comes here, it bends inward, and again bends outward, again bends inwards. ऐसे घूम आता है. You need not know all the details of this. We just need one statement conclusion. Okay, this was the conclusion. Both P and S waves, they pass through. They pass the mantle, they bend outwards, and this bend outward means the density of the earth is progressively increasing with depth. अब ठीक है? Is it okay till now? Is it okay till now? All fine? All fine? Coriolis bending. No, please. Coriolis is another animal. Okay, Coriolis is another thing to handle. Abhi Coriolis mat leke aao. Okay, I said, no, you guys make me so nervous. मैं घबरा जाता हूँ. धीरे-धीरे करते हैं. I'll start making mistakes then. ठीक है, अभी नहीं. Okay. Mechanical waves point show the diagram. कौन सा डायग्राम मेरी जान? ये वाला डायग्राम? अब ठीक है. पूजा, आर यू फाइन? आर यू स्टिल विथ मी या आप भाग गए छोड़ के? पूजा, आर यू विथ मी? पूजा is gone. अरे, you are here. You know, whenever I hear Puja, back in the times, okay, when I was in college, there was this movie which had come up. Okay, Dil Hai Ki Manta Nahi. Dil Hai Ki Manta Nahi, the first movie, okay, yes, गाने बहुत अच्छे हैं. Okay, Pooja Bhatt's first movie, her name is Pooja in that. Okay, and the way Anupam Kher calls her Pooja. You should see that part. Okay, and that's the day when Pooja and Pooja Bhatt both become my favorite names and favorite star. So वो movie देखना आप लोग. ऐसे Pooja Mishra says नहीं, it's not as bad, trust me. The Pooja Bhatt was a sensation back then. Big sensation. The time has not been kind to her for the choices she made, but she was a sensation. ठीक है? अच्छा, नहीं भागूंगी. Okay. So Pooja is a very important name for me. आगे बढ़े. Move on now. All done? Guys, समझ में आए ना आए, are you able to take notes or not? Yes? whether you understand or not. Are you taking notes or not? Yes. समझ में आए ना आए. Are you with me in the class or not? Yes. That's all. The rest will happen. Not taking notes. Sangam, okay, this will be dangerous. Okay, इस संगम से फिर सरस्वती तो वैसे ही लोप हो गई थी. ठीक है, ये संगम में फिर आपको अगर रहना है, okay, नोट्स तो अनिवार्य है. Okay, if you miss out on the notes, then your channel, your river shift and it will go dry. Okay, so if you have to participate, notes is a must. Okay, fine, great. And notes के बाद में synopsis बनाना भी जरूरी है. You have to make synopsis. You have to make summarizations. Summarizations is where your doubts will get cleared. Summarizations is where all your doubts will ultimately, okay, fall into place. Your conceptual clarity comes when you start making those summaries. ठीक है? Okay, I will break the video now.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Yes, Ratnesh, make it a habit. Okay. So, interiors of Earth. Okay, this is now done. Okay, what are the rocks? What are the minerals? What are the layers? What are the properties of the layers? Okay, what is the consequence of that? Okay, plus the evidences. So I am done with the interiors of Earth. I am done with interiors of Earth. This is over. Okay. Now moving on to the next topic, continental drift. Continental drift theory. Continental drift theory. Take a fresh page. आशुतोष उल्टा कर दिया. Less viscous means it is thick. If it is more, less viscous means fluid. Yes. So lava is coming from. You're right. Yes, Asutosh, correct. If it is more viscous, okay, it's coming from the upper parts. Yes, you're right. We'll come to that, Asutosh. Great. Light is the electromagnetic wave. Arka Prabha was waiting to strike. Meri Jaan, light has dual property. Light radiations भी है और light के wave properties भी हैं. Okay, light is like packets. That's what Planck says. Okay, yes. So light is dual property. You have both the properties for light. Light is influenced by medium, correct? ठीक है, Arc Prabha, is it okay? Okay. Okay, the drift theory. Now, about the Earth, okay, there are some fundamental questions. There are some fundamental questions. Number one, how was Earth formed? Number two, what created oceans and continents, and how did crustal differentiation happen? differentiation happen? Keep writing, please. About Earth, there are certain fundamental questions. How was Earth formed? The questions like, what created the oceans and the continents? What made? And how did the crust differentiate? What's the meaning of the word differentiate? The crust separating into continents and oceans. ये कैसे बना? How did it form? Okay. Third, why are the continents where they are? Did they move? Did they move, or have they been there always? How are the continents, or why are the continents where they are? Did they move, or they have been there always? What was the nature of the first initial crust? What was the nature of the first initial crust? Guys, are you all with me? लिख रहे हो आप लोग? How was the earth formed? What created the oceans and the continents? How did the crustal differentiation happen? Why are the continents where they are? Okay, did they move, or have they been there always? And what was the nature of the first initial crust? What was the nature of the first initial crust? How can we explain? How can we explain volcanism, earthquakes, islands formation? Okay, these are all the features on the earth. How can we explain volcanism? How can we explain earthquakes? How can we explain how islands are formed? And very importantly, how are fold mountains formed? How are fold mountains formed? So these are some of the questions about the earth. How are the fold mountains formed? How can we explain volcanism, earthquakes, and island formations? What was the nature of the first initial crust? Okay, how are the fold mountains formed? What was the nature of the first crust? Why are the continents where they are? These are some of the questions. By the way, before I move ahead, a quick short point on what are fold mountains. Fold mountains, these are very unique to Earth. Okay, they are the longest and the highest mountains. They are made up of marine sediments. ये बहुत interesting है features. The mountains are of different kind. If you look at the mountains, there are different types of mountains. We have got block mountains, we have volcanic mountains, we have fold mountains. ये topic आपका video, have you seen this video? Have you all seen this video? Yes? You have seen the videos? Yes. No, Rishabh, dekh lo na, fir what are you waiting for, Rohit? And I look damn smart in that video, okay? Make sure that you see it. Okay, you will get great stories and great inspiration. So, Saturday को देखोगे. अच्छा तसल्ली से हैं? Okay, on the big screen, popcorn खाते खाते, you will see, okay. For the weekend entertainment. चलो ठीक है, fine. Okay. So, fold mountains are very unique They are not found anywhere else. They are only found on Earth. They are some of the largest mountains. They are some of the highest mountains. And they're made up of marine sediments. ये बहुत important है. They're made up of marine sediments. So how can we explain the fold mountains that are formed? And I hope you know the names of the important fold mountains. You know about Himalayas, I'm sure. You know about mountains called Hindu Kush mountains. You know about the mountains called as Tien Shan mountains. There are mountains called as Elburz and Zagros mountains. Okay, these mountains include the Alps of say Europe, mountains called as Jura mountains, और ये सारे mountains are part of the same system. We call these as the Trans-Eurasian mountains. Trans-Eurasian mountain system. They're across Europe and Asia. Himalayas, Hindu Kush in Afghanistan, Tien Shan, this is north of Tibet. Okay, we have Kunlun Shan also. Okay, Kunlun Shan. Both are in China, Tibet, Kunlun Shan mountains. Okay, Elburz and Zagros, these are in Iran. These are in Iran. We have Alps, Switzerland, France, okay, Austria, Alps, Jura mountains. Jura mountains. Yes, we also have Caucasus mountains. Caucasus mountains. We have the Pyrenees, okay, between Spain and France. And all of these together, they are referred to as Trans-Eurasian mountains. ये longest chain है. Okay, north, east, west, एकदम chain है. Apart from this, we have got other fold mountains like we have the Rockies, we have the Appalachians, we have the Andes mountains, we have the Atlas mountains, okay, we have a great dividing range. Okay. I hope you have seen these names, Rockies and Appalachians. These are in North America. Okay, Andes, this is in South America. Okay, Atlas Mountains, these are in Africa. Great Dividing Range, this is in Australia. Okay, can I presume you know these names? Can I presume you know these names? Yeah, yes. और प्लीज वो वीडियो देख लो, उसमें काफी डिटेल में डायग्राम में बताया है. Yes, we also have Urals. Okay, very nice. And make your notes. If you make your notes, do share those notes, please. Make your summaries. Yes, blocks are also a type of escarpment, correct. Okay, excellent, Devender. Excellent. ठीक है? Okay, and some of those map videos. ठीक है? So ये कुछ questions हैं. Okay. Next point here. Next point. Continue. The earliest theories had assumed okay, that continents were permanent features. Okay, they assumed that continents were permanent features and immobile. Okay, there was no convincing explanation okay, to how mountains and volcanism and earthquakes happen. The earliest theories had assumed the continents were permanent features and that they were immobile, that they don't move, they were immobile. ठीक है? And no convincing explanations to how mountains and volcanoes and the earthquakes were formed. There was no convincing answer to this. Okay? However, okay, some of the interesting observations, okay, were documented about the continents. Are you all writing as I speak? Okay. All with me? Some of the interesting observations that were documented about the continents. What are the observations? So one is the coast of South America and Western Africa seem to match and fit into one another. This was already noted. Okay, this we know from 1600s. This we confirmed in 1800s also. ये पता था. The coast of South America and West African coast, they seem to match and fit into one another. What we are saying is, look at the map. Say this is the shape of South America. कुछ ऐसे shape है. And somewhere here we have the shape of Africa, something like this. And if you kind of match them, they kind of match and they fit into one another in some way. Okay, if you bring them together, it almost looks like this. If you bring them together, it almost looks like this. So ye hai, and Africa can come somewhere here like this. Aise Africa can fit. Africa can kind of fit here. And here, of course, you also know there is a small island called as Madagascar. This also can fit here. Okay? So, South America and Africa, they kind of fit into one another. Okay? Yes, this is what is called as the jigsaw fit. The jigsaw fit. South America and Africa, they seem to fit. Are you all drawing all of this or not? If you are getting entertained, very nice, but draw bhi karte rehna hai. So you guys were laughing on my handwriting. Now I will laugh on your diagrams. Okay? So we will get even now. Ekdam qatl. Okay? This was observed. Not able to draw? Good for you. और हंसो फिर. और हंसो. अभी बनाता हूं और भी रुको. Wait. This observation is a very interesting one. This was observed by a scholar called Francis Bacon. Also was observed by Benjamin Franklin. I'm sure you know these people. Francis Bacon was also a writer, an Englishman. Benjamin Franklin, an American. Okay, a lot of experiments in physics. Both had observed this. The South American coast and the West African coast, they match and they fit into one another. Yes. All of them were polymath. You know, har jagah the. Okay, everything they would tell lot of concepts in many subjects. लिख लिया आप लोगों ने? This was already known. The second thing was Snyder, Sneider, Snyder had observed and this is happening in 1800s. Hundreds में had observed a similarity of coal fields in the US and in Western Europe. Somewhere the coal fields were very similar. Okay, Europe में, okay, and US में, okay, the type of coal is very similar. Snyder had observed, SNEIDER, similarity of the coal fields in the US and Western Europe. So in the US, okay, so my revenge will now continue for a long time. Okay, so this is the Appalachian Mountains. यहाँ एक island है. This is Greenland, Iceland. This is the British Isles. यहाँ पर कुछ mountains हैं. Okay, this is A, this is B, this is C. Okay, A is Appalachian Mountains and coal. B is okay, Newfoundland Island and coal. C is Pennines Mountains and coal of Britain. लिखो, बनाओ इसको. Type of coal is the rock, no? Okay, the type of carbon content, the type of impurities, the age of that particular coal. Please draw slow. I'm having my fun now. C is Pennines. Pennines is a mountain. Penninees. एक mountain है ब्रिटेन में, in UK. Pennines Mountains, Pennine coal fields. Pennines Mountains and the Pennines coal fields. Newfoundland is an island और वहां पर coal भी है. And वहां पर coal भी है. All done? The coal fields are matching. So these are some things that has been observed. I'll continue. क्या metallic coal क्या होता है यार अनुराग? Coal तो non metal है. What do you mean by metallic coal? I don't know क्या कहना चाहिए. Maybe you are talking about metallurgical coal. That's a different thing. Not metallic, metallurgical. Above Britain, Pennines, the name of the coal fields. ठीक है? What is B? B is an island called as Newfoundland. An island called as Newfoundland. ये कनाडा में है. And it has coal. Apennines नहीं. Apennines, Shravan, are in Italy. This is Pennines, not Apennines. Nova Scotia is a place in Newfoundland. Yes, Asish. Yes, famous for fishing. Yes. Okay. Can I move on? All fine? Okay. Now, what happens is, in 1908, Taylor gave one of the earliest interpretations of continental drift. Taylor was one gentleman. He gave one of the earliest interpretations of continental drift. Okay, according to him, okay, there were uh, two large continents called as Laurasia in the north, okay, which is also sometimes referred to as Angara land, and there was another one called as Gondwana land. This was in the south. These continents were separated by an ancient sea called Tethys Sea. The two continents moved into one another, collided and formed the east-west Trans-Eurasian mountains. You must write as I speak. Don't write looking at the board. Okay? So Taylor, in 1908, he gave the first interpretation of continental drift. देखो बेटा ये syllabus में है नहीं, but some things you should know. And what he said was, there were two large continents. Okay, one is called as Laurasia, and one is called as Gondwana land. Okay? And these two continents, they were separated by a sea called as the Tethys Sea. And the two continents, they moved into one another, okay, and they collided and formed east-west Trans-Eurasian mountains. They formed east-west Trans-Eurasian mountains. All done? लिख लिया आप लोगों ने? Where is it? Did you all write down this much? So what we have is, there is one continent, large, our Earth, one large continent north में है, another large continent south में है. This is Laurasia or Angara land. This is Gondwana land. And this in between, this is the Tethys Sea. So whatever reason, this moves like this moves like this, and both of them, they collided, they fused, and because of the collisions, okay, so this part now becomes the mountains, the sediments of Tethys Sea. So this is the Trans-Eurasian mountain formed from the sediments of the Tethys Sea. Okay, and this is east-west, okay, Trans-Eurasian mountains. The sediments of the Tethys Sea, they have become the mountains. All fine till here? Is it okay? Maybe Ashmita, maybe. अभी प्रिंस अभी रुक जाओ. Caledonia and the rest बाद में. अभी ये ठीक है? All done? Next is the ideas and the contributions of Alfred Wegener. The ideas and the contributions of Alfred Wegener. He gave his theory in 1912. He gave his theory in 1912. Alfred Wegener. He is the more important. Okay? Alfred Wegener. So, Alfred Wegener was a climatologist. He was a meteorologist. His objective was to study and discover Earth's past climatic history. This was his objective. He was a climatologist. He was a meteorologist. His objective was to study Earth's past climatic history. Earth's past climatic history. He had studied rocks, okay, fossils. He was studying sediments, and also came across the works of Francis Bacon, Snyder, and Taylor's interpretation. So this man was a smart man. He is not a geologist. He is a climatologist, a meteorologist. Of course, his roots are in physics. Okay? His roots are in physics. And he is studying rocks. Anybody knows why are rocks important for climate? Why are fossils important for climate? Why are sediments important for climate? Yes, rocks can preserve the history of the past. Yes. Okay, fossils, life forms, they can tell us about the history of the past. Plus, he came across the works of Francis Bacon, Snyder, and Taylor. He kind of put the Lego pieces together. A smart man who was able to interpret many things together. Yes. Okay. So what he did was, okay, Wegener put all known observations together and gave his continental drift hypothesis. Okay, he put all the observations together and he gave, okay, his continental drift hypothesis. Weber, Wagner, Whittlesey. ठीक है, Ashmita, is it okay? Is it okay? All good? Okay. So, the postulates of Wegener. The postulates of Wegener. What did he tell us? Postulates of Wegener. Okay. So, do you have energy for another 2-3 minutes? Then I can show you the textbook. You have energy for 2-3 minutes? Yes? तो किसी का मेस का खाना गया. Okay, somebody is going to miss the mess food. Geomorphology textbook. Just 3-4 pages. Garvita has missed her food. Okay, here. Can you see my screen, all of you? Can you all see my screen? You see my hand, palms, दिख रहा है, nails, my pencil. Yeah? अच्छा ठीक है, okay. Open up page number 105 or chapter number 5, Constitution of Earth's Interiors. Which pen do I use? Which pen is this one? क्या है ये? Cello or cello, whatever. Liquiball. एक ये वाला है और एक ये वाला है, भिकारी वाला, नटराज. ठीक है? Yeah, in the new book maybe page 104. मैं लिखा भी है page 104 और chapter number 5. ठीक है? So some quick facts. Okay, the density of the earth. Okay, so density ranges from 3.5 at different places. The average density of the whole earth is 5.5. So some facts here. Some facts here. Okay, density of the core of the earth is the highest of the earth. Okay, you know this. Then there is page 105 or 6 could be bolo. There is a temperature discussion. Okay, so read this passage, and what I made you write was this one here, wala part. The temperature pattern, and I have given you averages. यहाँ पे लिखता है 1900, I write 2000. Okay, about 3000, 4000, 5 to 6000. So I have approximated. Okay, approximated. Wherever we have a molten asthenosphere, okay, wherever we have junction of the mantle. So we have done some approximations here. Okay. Then we have something on the P waves and S waves, page 108. P waves, primary waves, the fastest through solid material. Secondary waves, transverse हैं, S waves. Surface में L waves हैं. It does not mention R waves, तो आप R लिख लेना. Okay. Then PG, SG waves. Okay, we have P star, S star waves, and we have P and S waves. Okay, so you can look this up. Honest speaking, I'll say don't read this because this is going to be confusing for you. You go with the class notes. Okay. But if you want to look up, you can look up here. Okay. It does not tell us what happens in the core part. वो बताते नहीं है. Okay. So if you want, you can look up or ignore. Then we have some models of Earth. Okay. So Edward Suez का idea है a Sial, a Sima and knife. Some values we have told you here. Some values I have told you here. Then Daly's idea, outer zone, intermediate zone, central zone. Arthur Holmes is also very similar to Daly's idea. Van der Graat's outer silica, inner silica, mixed metals, metallic nucleus. Some facts here. Okay, this is only for your quick reference. Don't kill yourself here. The concept of lithosphere, the concept of barysphere. Okay. The chemical differentiation is crust. Okay, crust, continent. So you can read these two pages, page 110 and 11, crust, and this. Okay, what is mantle, what is core? Okay, Weichert-Gutenberg discontinuity. We have Moho discontinuity, upper mantle, lower mantle. Low velocity zone is the asthenosphere. Okay, so ये दो पेज पढ़ लेना if you want to read, maybe, or maybe 1.5 page. Something here, this and this. You can ignore surge tectonics. छोड़ देना इसको आप. Take this reference, and then you can look up page 117. Page 117. This is a Continental Drift Theory of Taylor, F.B. Taylor, 1908. The origin of the fold mountains. Okay, so something idea here. Snyder in 1800s had said something. Okay, so whatever you understand, I'll take up a bit more. And then we have Laurasia moving from North Pole, tidal force, whatever. Okay, so you don't need details. And then we have the theory of Wegener. Wegener gave his theory in 1912. Okay, and he said something. Okay, this is the diagram of South America and Africa fitting into one another. This is South America. This is Africa. अरे आशुतोष कहाँ जा रहे हो यार, धीरे धीरे करते हैं ना, slowly gradually. Okay, this is your reference for your quick study. ठीक है, हो गया? Don't read this book on your own. Read according to the pages I suggest. And if you come across something extra, add it to your notes. Add it to your summaries. Okay? So tomorrow we will not have a class. No, tomorrow is what? Saturday, no? Yeah, Saturday. Saturday, kal Saturday. I forget. Tomorrow we have a class. Yes. Kal aapka class hai. Yes. I'm sorry, I thought it was Saturday today. Okay, tomorrow I will finish this topic and move on towards tectonics also. Bye-bye all of you. Bye-bye. Shraddha, I was checking you. Yes, I was checking you. Correct. Please make your summaries. Please make your summaries. I request you. Please make your summaries. मेरे लिए कर देना. जय हिंद. Bye-bye.